My dad, Robert Harris, was a self-made man, a contractor who built half the houses in our small Ohio town. My brothers followed right in his footsteps. Marcus, the oldest, ran the company after college. Ryan, the middle child, handled the finances. And then there was me, Jason, the youngest, the one who never tried hard enough. I wasn't lazy. I just wasn't like them. I wanted to be an artist, not a builder. I saw beauty in colors, not blueprints. But my father never understood that. Art doesn't pay the bills, son, he used to say. You'll grow up when you learn what real work is. So while Marcus and Ryan were getting promotions and new trucks, I was scraping by selling small paintings online, working part-time at a hardware store. Every family dinner turned into a silent competition, one I never asked to be part of. When Dad got sick, everything got worse. The cancer changed him. He became quieter, sharper with his words. I still remember the last conversation we had before he passed. I hope one day you make something of yourself. Jason, he said, his voice weak but cold. You've got a good heart. But hearts don't build houses. After he died, the will confirmed what I already knew. The company, the house, the money, all of it went to Marcus and Ryan. I got nothing. Not a dollar. Just one old painting Dad had kept in his office, a landscape of the first house he ever built. Mum told me it was probably his way of being sentimental, but it didn't feel like sentiment. It felt like pity. Still, I hung it in my small apartment, not because I liked it, but because it was the last thing he ever left me, and for 2 years, that's all it was, just a painting. Collecting dust on my wall, until the day it fell. It happened one evening while I was cleaning. The nail gave way, and the frame slammed against the floor, cracking open the corner of the canvas. That's when I saw it, a strange bulge behind the painting. Something hard and metallic pressing against the fabric. I pulled the canvas back, and there it was. A small safe, embedded directly into the wooden frame, hidden all this time. Behind the image of my father's proudest achievement, I didn't know it yet. But that safe would uncover secrets about my family that would destroy everything I thought I knew about my father, and about myself. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel, and write in the comments about which country you're watching this video from. Enjoy the story. For a long minute, I just stood there staring at it. The safe built right into the frame of that old painting. It didn't make sense. Why would my father, a man obsessed with order and control, hide something like this? I ran my hand over the cold metal. It was old but still sturdy, sealed with a small dial and a faded combination lock. There were faint scratches around it, as if someone had tried to open it before and failed. I couldn't stop my mind from racing. If this had been hanging in Dad's office for decades, then Marcus and Ryan had seen it too. Did they know? Did they leave it for me on purpose? Or had Dad left it for me alone, the son he claimed was useless? I spent the next hour trying every number that meant something, birthdays, anniversaries, addresses, but nothing worked. The safe stayed locked, stubborn and silent, as if mocking me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying my father's last words in my head. You've got a good heart, Jason, but hearts don't build houses. What if the clue wasn't in the numbers, but in his words? The next morning, I drove back to my mother's house. She was sitting at the kitchen table, sorting through old paperwork, the same routine she'd had since Dad's passing. Mum, I said, trying to sound casual, do you remember the painting Dad gave me? She glanced up. The one from his office. Why? I think there's something inside it. Her expression changed, not surprise, not curiosity, but something else. A flicker of fear. It was gone in an instant, but I saw it. What are you talking about? She asked quickly, her tone sharper now. Jason, that painting was just something he liked. Don't start making stories out of it. But her reaction only made me more suspicious. I tried again. Did Dad ever mention a safe? She froze just for a second before forcing a smile. No, honey. He wasn't that kind of man. That was a lie. My father was exactly that kind of man, secretive, controlling, and always 5 steps ahead of everyone. I thanked her and left, but as I was walking out, I caught sight of something on the hallway wall, a photograph of my dad standing in front of his first construction site. The date at the bottom read the 12th of August, 85. It hit me like lightning. August 12th, his company's founding date. I drove home, my heart pounding. I turned the dial on the safe, the 12th of August, 85, and on the last number, there was a faint click. The door creaked open. Inside, wrapped in an old cloth, was a single brown envelope, and next to it, a small flash drive. The envelope had my name on it, and written in my father's sharp handwriting were the words, "If you're reading this, you're ready to know the truth." I sat there in stunned silence. The man who'd called me useless had left me something no one else knew about, but what I didn't realize then was that opening that safe wasn't the end of the mystery, it was just the beginning. For several minutes, I just stared at the envelope in my shaking hands. My name, Jason, written in my father's unmistakable handwriting. The same handwriting that used to scrawl red ink over my school report cards with the words, "Do better." But now, those same letters felt heavier, almost like a confession. I opened it slowly. Inside was a folded letter, brittle and yellowing at the edges, along with a small brass key. The letter began simply, "If you've found this, it means you're the only one I could trust." I froze. My father, the man who'd spent his life telling me I wasn't good enough, was calling me the only one he could trust. I kept reading. "There are things about this family you don't know. I built this company from the ground up, but not everything about it was clean. There were deals, people, mistakes. I tried to protect your brothers from it. But you were different. You saw the world through a lens of truth, not greed. And that's why I'm leaving this to you." The letter went on, mentioning something called the ledger and a name I didn't recognize. Harlan Vance. It ended with one final line that sent chills down my spine. "If anyone else finds this, burn it. And trust no one, not even your brothers." I sat back, my heart pounding. The brass key in my hand glinted under the light. I didn't know what it opened, but I had a feeling it was connected to the flash drive. When I plugged the drive into my laptop, my screen flickered before opening a folder titled Confidential. Inside were hundreds of files, scanned documents, bank statements, and property records, all linked to my father's company. But buried among the spreadsheets and contracts was something else. Something that didn't belong. A scanned photo of my father, younger, standing next to a man I didn't recognize. The same man's name appeared in the documents over and over again, Harlan Vance. I clicked on one of the video files. The screen filled with static before a grainy clip began playing. My father sat at his office desk, his expression grim. "If you're watching this, I'm probably gone," he said. "And if you're my son, Jason, you need to know the truth. Harlan isn't who he says he is. The company money, the missing accounts, everything, it's him. Your brothers don't know, but they're in danger." The screen went black. I just sat there, frozen. Missing money? Danger. My father's partner was behind it all. Suddenly, I heard a sound that made my blood run cold, a soft creak from the hallway. Someone was in my apartment. I turned toward the door just as the knob began to twist. For a brief second, I thought maybe it was nothing, the wind, my imagination, until I saw the shadow move across the floor. Then I heard a familiar voice, low, angry, and all too real. "Jason," Marcus said, stepping into the light. "We need to talk. About Dad's safe." The letter slipped from my hands, he knew. And for the first time, I realized this wasn't just about what Dad had left behind, it was about who would survive knowing it. Marcus's eyes darted straight to the laptop screen, still glowing with the image of our father's face, frozen mid. His expression tightened, not shock, but recognition. "So," he said slowly, closing the door behind him. "You found it." My throat went dry. "Found what?" I asked, even though I already knew. He stepped closer, his voice sharp. "Don't play dumb, Jason. The safe. The letter. The flash drive. Dad didn't just give you that painting because he felt sorry for you. How do you even know about it?" I demanded. Marcus gave a small, humorless laugh. You think I didn't know Dad hid things? I helped him install that safe, years ago, but I never had the code. Guess he didn't trust me either. He moved closer, his tone dropping lower. Now hand it over. I stood my ground. What's on this drive belongs to me. Dad left it for me. Marcus's jaw clenched. You don't understand what you're dealing with. Jason, that man on the video, Harlan Vance, he's not some name on a document. He's dangerous. Dad got in deep with him. If you've seen anything, you need to delete it before it ruins us all. Ruins us, I repeated, or ruins you. That hit him. His lips pressed into a thin line. Dad trusted me for a reason, I continued. He said you and Ryan were in danger. What did you do? Marcus's face turned red, veins visible in his neck. You think you're so much smarter now, huh? The useless son suddenly becomes the hero. He pointed at the computer. You have no idea how far this goes. You'll drag us all down if you keep digging. Before I could respond, he lunged forward, grabbing the flash drive from the port. I instinctively grabbed his wrist, shoving him back. The laptop crashed to the floor. We struggled for control, the tension snapping years of resentment wide open. Dad left this for me, I shouted. Marcus pushed me hard against the wall, his breath hot with anger. You always ruin everything. Just stay out of this before you get hurt. And then he stormed out, slamming the door behind him. I sank to the floor, gasping, heart racing. When I picked up the fallen laptop, the screen had cracked, but the files were still there. I still had the letter. And the brass key. As I sat there, I noticed something strange about the key, tiny engraving marks I hadn't seen before. Under the light, they formed numbers. 421 Maple. That was Dad's old workshop address, the one he shut down years before he died. I knew what I had to do. The next morning, I drove out to the workshop. It was abandoned, covered in vines, the windows clouded with dust. But when I stepped inside, I noticed one thing out of place, a large metal cabinet, bolted to the wall with a padlock. The brass key fit perfectly. When I opened it, I expected blueprints or tools, but instead, I found cash. Stacks of it. Bundles of $100 bills, along with more files labeled Vance Projects. And right on top, a sealed envelope marked for Jason, do not trust Marcus. I tore it open, hands trembling. Inside was a single sheet of paper, and what it said would change everything, I thought. I knew about my family, and about the man I'd spent my life trying to understand. My hands trembled as I unfolded the letter, afraid of what I might read next. My father's handwriting was familiar, sharp, precise, the kind that demanded attention. Jason, if you're reading this, then Marcus has already come looking. You must understand, I didn't make all my fortune through clean hands. Harlan Vance was my partner in building the company, but he became something far darker. When I tried to break away, he turned your brothers against me. Marcus and Ryan helped him move money into offshore accounts, believing it was just tax strategy. They never knew the truth that the funds came from illegal contracts and bribes. The money you've found here is what I took back. What I stole from Harlan before he could destroy us all. If Marcus finds this before you do, he'll hand it back to Vance. Don't let that happen. I left it to you because you were the only one who saw through him. The only one who still had a conscience. I froze, my heart pounding in my ears. My brothers had been part of it. Whether willingly or not, they were tied to this entire scheme. I turned to the other papers inside the cabinet. There were bank statements, transfer receipts, and a black notebook, the ledger. The same one my father had mentioned in his first letter. It listed every deal, every fake account, every dirty transaction, and every page ended with one haunting line. When I'm gone, Jason must decide what kind of man he'll be. That's when I heard the sound of tires outside. I peeked through the grimy window. Marcus's car. He must have followed me. I stuffed the cash and the notebook into a duffel bag, heart hammering. The workshop door creaked open behind me. Jason, Marcus called, his voice low and dangerous. You shouldn't have come here. I stepped into the light, gripping the duffel. I know everything. About you. About Vance. About what Dad did. His face darkened. Then he stole from dangerous men. If you don't hand that over, they'll come for you too. Maybe, I said. But I'm not letting you or them destroy what's left of this family. For a long second, we just stared at each other, two brothers standing in the wreckage of everything our father built. Then, without another word, I walked past him and out the door. Later that night, I met with a lawyer, one who had no connection to my family. Together, we sent every document to the authorities and arranged for the money to be donated anonymously to charity. Marcus and Ryan tried to fight it, of course. They denied everything. But once the investigation began, their names and Harlan Vance's appeared everywhere. A few months later, the company my father built was seized, its corruption laid bare, and me. I didn't take a dime. Instead, I went back to the workshop, my father's workshop, and turned it into something new. A community repair space where people like me, the so-called useless ones, could build something honest with their own hands. Sometimes, I still find myself staring at that old painting that once hid the safe. It reminds me of the man who called me worthless, yet trusted me with the truth. Dad was right about one thing. Hearts don't build houses, but they do build legacies.